My fellow Americans, sales of honey-sweetened Milanios is off the charts. And now, it's time to address Biden's endorsement of my MAGA line. Now, people tell me all the time, how old Sleepy Joe is going on and on about Ultra MAGA, as if it's a bad thing. A bad thing? Isn't that just silly? What old Joe doesn't know is that he's actually endorsing my latest line of Ultra MAGA products. Now, if you brought my steaks, you know they go great with ketchup. But if you want to take them up a notch, try my Hillary's hot sauce. It comes in small bottles so you can carry it in your purse or pocket, and just like Hillary, it's extra salty. So good, so good. And fresh squeezed from beautiful Mar-a-Lago oranges, Trump brand orange juice is as rich and as orange and sweet as I am. You can get it pulp-free or grown with extra pulp mulch made from composted declassified papers. From our fabulous Florida orchards to your breakfast table, people are saying, and I believe them, people are saying that this delicious juice goes great with Trump brand cereals. Let's face it, no one juices like Trump. Now, since Sleepy Joe's son has gotten into painting, it only makes sense that I help the old crook out with the best art supplies money can buy. Trump brand finger paints are the perfect thing for your deadbeat, druggy son to get started in the art world. They're non-toxic, so they do not include the color red, because the Bidens have done enough with the reds. The Ultra Super Mega palette includes such fabulous colors as Laptop Lavender, Powdery Substance White, Navy Joan Blue, and of course, my favorite, Sun-Kissed Orange. Don't take my word for it. These things are the best. Everyone says so, they tell me. President Trump, when are you going to come out with new things? They like every product in the Ultra Mega line. And it sounds like old Sleepy Creepy Joe does too. So what's not to like? God bless you. God bless the United States of America.
Live from the Counterculture-Wise newsroom, it's Interviews to the Max, with your favorite interviewer and mine, Maximilian von Riegelbieser.
Hello to you all from CCW land. I'm as punched as pleased tonight to bring you interviews with two legendary lawmakers. First up tonight is the Republican Senate Minority Leader from Kentucky, wherever that is, Mitch McConnell. How are you tonight, good sir?
I'm doing good.
That is wonderful to hear, Senator, and congratulations on your continued success. All the same, my good man, I feel compelled from the bottom of my padded paws to address your recent health scares. Earlier this year, you had a fall which resulted in a concussion. You have been using a wheelchair to get around, and just the other day, you froze in mid-sentence during a press conference while appearing to have a stroke. With all due respect, Senator, do you think it's a good idea to stay in office for the rest of your term?
That's just a silly question, boy. I've been doing this for years, and I'm not one to let a couple of setbacks stop me from keeping this cushy job.
A most excellent attitude to have, Senator. In that spirit, let's move on. Speaking recently on the Senate floor, you said that China wants to build a military training base in Cuba. What possible reason do you think they would want to do that? The cigars, maybe?
Mr. Cat, of all the nations in the world, China is the biggest economic and political threat to the United...
Senator? Mr. McConnell? Mitch? Hello? Is anyone in there? Oh, dear.
We've got him, Max. Senator, sir, let's step over here for a moment.
Step over here? I hope you mean step into an ambulance.
We've got it under control, Mr. Cat. We do this all the time.
All the time? Well, all right. We'll try and return to Mr. McConnell shortly. For the moment, though, let's talk to another longtime Senate member. In fact, she is the oldest living member of this esteemed body. Please welcome Democratic Senator from California, Miss Dianne Feinstein.
Hello. Wow, you are one funny-looking man.
I'm sure I would be if I were.
What?
I understand that you were recently hit with a case of shingles. As it turns out, we rent our studio space from a roofing company, and say what you will about them, they would never throw boxes of their shingles at us. Not only would it be wasteful, it simply isn't the right thing to do.
What?
I understand that due to your recent illness, you were unable to vote on important legislation, which held up some of the programs that President Biden was trying to get passed. This leads me to ask the same question I asked Mr. McConnell a few minutes ago. Do you think that you will be able to do your job successfully through the end of your current term?
I have been doing my job successfully.
Excuse me?
I've been on the floor every day, voting on things that matter to the American people.
But you were at home for months.
I was on the Senate floor. Ask the right questions.
I did.
Did what?
First base. Anyway, looking ahead, what do you plan to accomplish leading up to your retirement?
This legislation would close up the loopholes that have made it possible for large corporations to get tax breaks while exploiting the working class.
That's not what I asked. And what legislation are you talking about anyway?
That's the problem with you Republicans. You never listen.
Republican. Humph. As if Katz could be anything but libertarian. She's the first guest that was out of here before we began. Thank you for talking with me today, Senator. Goodbye. Well, let's see how they're doing with Senator McConnell. Is he up and running again?
Just about there, Max. In 3, 2, 1.
States. And building a military installation of any kind so close to our borders is a threat to the security of the whole region.
So you're saying it is a bad idea for a nation to use another nation to threaten a proxy war with us. Am I hearing that correctly?
I say you're the most astute cat I've ever met.
Then why do you support sending untold billions of dollars into Ukraine, wherever that is, to do the same thing to Russia?
Are you mocking me, boy? I take back what I said about you being astute. Why, you ain't nothing but a...
Hound dog? On those 4 notes, I say it is time to put this one to bed. Tune in next time for another interview to the max.
Welcome to Counterculture Wise, a Stormcat production. The views expressed on this podcast are those of the hosts, our guests, and the dog, and do not necessarily reflect the views of any of our platforms, our advertisers, or any other dog.
As you listen today, please remember, we are so much more than a podcast. All of our stories we discuss are linked in our show notes on counterculturewise.com. Visit there for commentary, guest photos and links, animations, and fun merchandise.
If you have a story idea or would like to be a guest on our show, contact us via our website. You can also follow us on Twitter, Gab, Instagram, Facebook, and all over social media, where we'll post memes, cat pics, and commentary that gets us booted off on a regular basis.
If you're listening live, be sure to join our chat on Spreaker. If you're listening dead, please stop voting Democrat, but enjoy the show anyway. Good Sunday evening to everybody out there in Counterculture-wise listening land.
Hi, everybody.
We have a full show for you today. Lots of things to talk about today. Lots of news going on. Chuck will check in. We've got some fun things coming up. A new sponsor to hear from.
Yay.
Yay. And, of course, stories of news of the weird, wonderful, and wicked.
Very.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am your hostess with the mostest, Ms. Melanie Hope. And here inside the burning hot Counterculture-wise, actually it's a nice balmy 92 in here today, Counterculture-wise studio, is my co-host, happens to be my best friend, also my husband, and my sweet Babu, actor, soon-to-be pastor, writer,
I wasn't going to announce that yet.
Mr. James Moniz.
Well, now that the cat's out of the bag, I guess I might.
I said Babu.
You said Babu. I'm a Babu. I'm Pastor Babu.
You are Reverend Moniz already. So
I know. I guess the big news this week. No, I am after much prayer and consideration. This is going to be a shock to a lot of you, but I'm going to seminary school, and I'm looking forward to seeing where that road takes me. It's not going to be immediate. We're working on getting all the
ducks in a row,
all the yellow bricks in the road together.
Yes.
So, we'll keep you posted on that.
He's going to be all legitimified and everything.
Yeah, but y'all pray for me, please. Seriously, pray for me.
And pray for our church too.
Definitely,
we totally unrelated because he's not like applying there or nothing.
No, I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for that.
Big change. So lots of prayers there.
But anyway, other than that, I was really reading recently a book on anti-gravity.
Anti-gravity.
Yeah, it's just I was gonna read it in parts, but it was impossible to put down
because it was just too heavy.
See, both of those work as punchlines. So anyway, that bombed.
Okay, wait.
It bombed like Nagasaki. Yeah, there you go. that I deserve that. Yeah. All right. I can't hide anything. It's like I wasn't even ready to announce it. Future pastor.
It was a secret.
Well, no, I just.
He's
now
got
I'm
this
committed.
Mole on his butt. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I am happy that I think this is going to be beneficial to a lot of people, and to God as well.
Well, and to you, because it's something you've been wanting to do. You said for many years.
Yeah, it is. It's something I've been thinking about doing, and I think that at this stage when I'm getting right with God again, I think it's a good idea for me to. I think studying the Bible more deeply is going to help me. Of course, it might also convert this show into the Good Time Gospel Hour, so beware.
Oh!
Because you may wind up being my test audience from time to time as I wander my way through this. But this is probably a good 6 months to a year away because I've got some things to take care of first. Some scores to settle. Yeah. So we have a whole lot to talk about. It's good to have you here this week. Hey.
And if you are listening live.
Yes.
Or even if you're listening after the fact, no matter where you are, whether you're on the Apples or the Googles or the Amazons or the...
Don't forget the Spotifys.
Or the iHeartRadios or wherever you are, drop everything.
Ha ha, I wore my helmet this time.
Oh, I thought that was just your natural shine. Drop everything and hit like, hit share, hit subscribe. Spread the news. Tell people about us far and near. If you love what we do, head on over to counterculturewise.com and drop us a line, or head on over to our locals and join the channel, and you'll get little extra things here and there, maybe some stuff a little bit early. We're on the YouTubes, and they hate our ever-loving guts there, but we have a couple of channels. The Counterculture Cats has their own separate channel for the animations, and then, of course, the Holy Crap segment, which is fully animated every week.
And is our most popular thing going on right now.
And then, of course, the podcast drops everywhere, including the YouTubes where they hate us and shadow ban us into oblivion and even delete subscribers, which is big fun. But we're also on BitChute.
Because they're a big and ethical company, yes.
We're also
so
on BitChute
ethical.
and Rumble, and Rumble is the place I would love for you all to go, because
Definitely.
we're also on Locals. So yeah, if you love what we do, drop us a line. Let us know what you think. If you absolutely despise what we do, head on over to Counterculture Wise and fill out the ID10T form. Let us know how you feel, how we can fix it, and we will give it the attention it deserves.
We are open to constructive criticism, by the way.
Oh, of course.
Stuff like "you suck"
Like,
doesn't quite
yeah,
do.
You
know,
suck is done. You know,
but
like,
you know,
like,
give
I'd love
give
to
us.
hear more of this segment, or
Yeah, or
you know, hey, I'd love for you to interview this person, or I would like to be interviewed. There's actually a form for that as well.
absolutely.
And then, of course, give us a, I don't know, 274,000 point.
As many
star
possible
review.
star
If you love
reviews
us, if
you
you
can
hate
give
us,
us.
just give us a 5-star review.
There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right. So let's talk dead people. That seems to be where our
Yeah,
show
I don't know.
starts.
I don't really want to keep doing this, but this week we lost. Well, I'll just call him a music legend, Jimmy Buffett,
Yeah,
who was.
he's a legend.
His music was always so happy. You know, it just took you to a better place. You know, just relaxing by the ocean with Margarita, of course, and just having a good time. I was not a parrot head. I don't know that many of his songs, but stuff like Margaritaville and Cheeseburger in Paradise, and he actually had. Well, there is a chain of cafes called Margaritaville Cafe that he helped found.
We actually
Yeah.
went to a comedy show at one in Vegas.
We did?
We did. Well,
Oh.
I did.
Okay, I think
Maybe
you did.
missed out, but I went.
Yeah, cool. Also, he did have a chain called Cheeseburger in Paradise for a while. That didn't last. I mean, yeah, there's only so many
Great
places I
name
would
for
go.
it.
Yeah. And one of my very favorite songs, "Come Monday," which is very kind of a sad ballad. Doesn't go along with a lot of his better known stuff, but it's a beautiful song anyway. And he has gotten tributes from luminaries such as McCartney, Joe Walsh, pretty much everybody, the Beach Boys, you know, all of that.
Yeah.
They've all.
He was an icon.
Yeah, he was, and his talent will live on. His music
He had
will
a
live
good
on.
long life, though, right?
Yeah, it was 70,
Yeah, he
76.
was no spring chicken. It's
No,
not like
no.
he joined the 27 Club or anything.
No, he joined the 76 Club. So-
Sorry. Wrong 76. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
it's okay. Like the 76 antenna ball. Nobody even knows what an antenna ball is because nobody knows what a car antenna is anymore. Anyway, so that happened. So Melanie,
Jimmy.
this is one of those situations. Now, she will often interrupt live while we are reading and criticize the writing. This time, however, we saved you the problem.
Oh,
She read it in advance.
yeah. This
And
is- okay.
so this is going to be, we won't even have to review, we won't have to stop part way through. Well, we will, but in reverse,
Well,
if that makes any
okay,
sense.
I just want to go through the stages
Uh-huh.
that I went through when I saw this headline. Now, I have an account with Ground News, which I highly recommend.
Yeah, they're
if you are
great.
looking for balanced news. What it does is it lists all of the stories by publication, and it literally tells you if it leans left or right, if it's centered, and the factuality approximation. So you can find, a really shocking article, and it'll say, leans right, low factuality. I try to get center as much as possible, but it also has this really great feature called the blind spot, or the blind spotter, where you can look at news that you wouldn't normally see.
Right.
And, there have been multiple studies, and I see this all the time on social media as well, that folks who tend to be left are in an echo chamber and will only hear lefty news. They're not interested in anything else.
Right.
Folks on the right tend to have more of a balanced they'll listen to
Tend to,
left.
but there are exceptions.
Well, there's always exceptions. Hashtag not all. I mean, that goes without saying. But for the most part, folks that are on the right, even the far right, tend to get a little bit more balanced looking. And so I look at mine, and I actually read more lefty news because I'm always doing research, but I'm very, very balanced. So, and I'm talking like, 56-43 with a little bit of wiggle room. The 56 being lefty stuff. But I try to do center as much as possible. So here I am. And it's really cool, too, because if you go to Blind Spotter, you can grab somebody's Twitter handle and see what news they digest. And it's hilarious because when you get called names and be called an istophobe and all the things they want to call you and everything, you grab their handle, you go there, and you can see they're 100% left. Or they just don't ingest news at all. It's like Twitter is their news source, so it's kind of hilarious that these people are always telling you you're an idiot and a moron and this and that. You compare screenshots, and that usually gets them even more angry. And,
Nobody likes to get caught in their own BS.
Yeah.
Nobody.
But, at least take a look. I mean, I'm willing to read. I mean, sometimes it's just absolute nonsense, ridiculousness that you can debunk right away. But other times it's like, oh, this is a story I wouldn't have heard if I didn't check out the other side. And, I just think it's reasonable. Anyway, so I'm on Ground News, not a sponsor, but we take them in a heartbeat. And one of the headlines, which a lot of times what you'll find is the headline will be the same for multiple outlets. And even though they might be left, right, or center, they basically just cannibalize the same same story.
Honestly, it'll be AP News is like the source for several different places.
And what happens
whatever.
is and this happens a lot, you'll see this a lot on Twitter, where one outlet will report something, then all the other outlets will report on that report, and then people will say, well, look, everybody's talking about this, but it's literally the single story, which doesn't make it factual. It just makes it, well propagated. All right, so I ran across this headline, and I went through several stages. Because first, I was like, oh my God, this is terrible. So here's the headline. Dad charged with murder after 10-year-old son dies in rollover crash. And
That's just awful. That sounds horrible.
In Texas. And my first thought was, oh my God, he lost his son. He's probably grieving, and now they're charging him with murder? That's terrible. I mean, why would they do that? And it's like, that's the headline. And then the blurb that every single one of these outlets has is that the boy wasn't wearing a seatbelt. And that at the time of the crash, he was partially ejected, and that's why he died. And I'm thinking, that's tragic and terrible, but that's not murder. I mean, the kid could have been in the process of putting on the seatbelt. He could have dropped something and taken it off and was picking it up when it happened.
Yeah, any
It
possible.
could have been the crash happened because Dad was saying, hey, put the seatbelt on. I mean, all these things went through my head, and I'm still on the dad's side here because I'm like, my God, why would you charge this poor man with murdering his own son? And so then I had to go and actually read the story. Let me see if I can grab one of these stories here. That's not letting me do it. Hold on a second. I got this. Don't worry.
I believe you.
I got this.
I completely believe you. 105% believe you.
Okay. So, here's the bullet points that they give you for the full story. A man has been charged with murder after crashing his truck, resulting in the death of his 10-year-old child in Harris County, Texas. The truck's back left tire tread cap came off, causing the vehicle to lose control and roll over. So far, I'm still thinking this poor man.
Yeah.
He could have died. His son died. I mean, I can't even imagine. The child was partially ejected from the truck during the rollover and was not wearing a seatbelt at the time of the crash. Now, that doesn't mean he didn't have a seatbelt on when it started.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
I'm still on the side of the dad here. So I'm like, okay, why is he getting charged with murder? So I go into one of the sources. This happens to be Newsweek, but they were all the same. Actually, this one actually did it right. Okay, let me go into the original one, because what happened, I'm not going going to subscribe, and I'm not going to allow ads, and I'm not. Okay, so many pop-ups came over, I can't even read it now. Don't you hate that?
I hate that.
Okay,
Genuinely.
well, you have lost me. I was going to read yours, but you had so many pop-ups, I can't even read it. And like I said, I try to do center. Fine, whatever. No, I'm not going to. I don't even have it. No.
While she's finding this to prove her point,
ridiculous.
and losing the plot here, please come to our place. Go to counterculturewise.com, which is our place.
Do our stuff.
Do our stuff.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 paragraphs in.
7?
7 paragraphs into the story. I'm still feeling for this father. 7 paragraphs in, he was taken into custody at the scene because he was intoxicated. He was driving drunk with his child in the car. And they don't tell you that for 7 paragraphs. So I spent this entire story mad as hell that this poor man, you know, whose son died, who's probably grieving, who's probably going through the worst possible hell you can imagine, is getting charged for murder. That's unfair. That's horrible. And it took him 7 frickin' paragraphs to tell me that it's because he was drunk.
I can only surmise it's because the guy who wrote it or woman who wrote it is a drunkard themselves and don't. I don't know.
The headline should not read "Father charged with murder in crash that killed 10-year-old son: sheriff." The headline should read "Drunk driver charged with murder of his son."
Yes, I know.
That's
I
how
agree.
the headline should read. I should not have to go 7 paragraphs in because I was mad.
Right.
I was going to spend a whole segment. This was going to be in the new normal and how, you know, the police have gone off the rails and this and that. Thank God I read the whole thing before we did it because, yeah, the fatal wreck happened on Farm Market. Gives the address, blah, blah, blah. At roughly 9 p.m. Sunday, the child was found by deputies partially ejected from the white, you know, they give you the year and the make and the model. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Investigators suspect the 10-year-old was thrown from the vehicle as it rolled. The father has been charged with felony murder in the death of his son. That's paragraph 3. According to the blah, 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 he failed to control the pickup after the rear tire tread gap separated, resulting in a blowout, bloody. Listen to this. Resulting in a blowout that caused the truck to rotate clockwise before entering a grassy ditch and rolling over. So we know the year, the make, the model, what street it happened, what time it happened, exactly how it happened, that it went counterclockwise.
Not to be confused
not that
with
the driver was drunk! My God, people! You have one job! One job! Even on Twitter, from the sheriff's office. The crash involved one vehicle, dude's name, driving the pickup, 10-year-old son as a passenger, rear tire blew out, causing it to lose control. The truck went into a rollover.
I'm willing to bet the so-called journalist based it on what the police did. Why didn't the police say, don't drive drunk because this is what can happen right at the very beginning of the...
Well, he retweeted himself and then said, driving after drinking is deadly.
Well, I mean, okay.
You buried the lead. So yeah, I was very upset with the overreach of this is just a normal. I don't want to say normal. It's very, very tragic, but this is a typical story that should have been easy to report on. Imagine how awful they are at reporting on things they don't want to report on.
Right.
You know, I mean, how many Trump is evil, Trump is bad stories have we read? And we get 3 paragraphs in, it's like, wait, this is exactly the opposite of what the headline says.
Right. Over and over again, especially with rags like Newsweek.
Yeah, well, that happens to be one of the ones I'm looking at right now.
I know.
Good God, people. 7 paragraphs. 7 paragraphs before they... Oy vey. Anyways, sorry for yelling into the mic.
All right. Well, I think that I can pinpoint exactly when I decided that journalism was going downhill. I was watching the local news in L.A. back in the late 80s, right after I got out of the Marines. I was at Tom's house. You remember Tom?
Old Tom.
Yeah.
Can't outdrink Tommy.
No one can outdrink Tommy.
Well, you tried, though.
It didn't.
I'm singing
Yeah.
to my cat.
Remember, future pastor, we can't keep dwelling on the past here.
That's true.
Okay.
Hey, one of the great things about being a minister is your redemption story.
That's true. That's true. Our soon-to-be former pastor has several great ones. It's gonna be hard to replace him. That's the drama we're dealing with outside of our show. Anyhow, where was I going with this? The first time. Yeah, it was a crazed gunman story.
Okay.
And the reporter said, listed a bunch of events, and then she said, This is when the shooter lost it.
What?
Exactly. It's like when he went a little nuts. But she said she used the term "lost it," and I said to myself, "That's not a very good journalistic term.
No.
Not a good journalistic term at all." And I don't like this. And then more and more of it happened, and 40 years later, here we are. 35 years later.
Yeah. Well, I think, other than just the flat-out lies, when we first moved to Las Vegas and the weather lady came on, and she's like, yeah, like, it's totally 110, and it's going to be, like, hot. I'm like, really?
It was a local, it was not, as I recall, it was one of the stations that wasn't affiliated with a network, didn't really have a news
but still,
group. So they hired this lady with nice knockers and this totally voice to report the weather. And it's like, okay, I guess. There's like totally this cold front coming in and blah, blah.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
she's really pretty.
Oh, yeah,
come
she's
on,
pretty.
gorgeous,
She's pretty.
but
Just,
come on.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. All right. Well,
All right.
we've got some doozies, so let's hear what we got going on.
In the world of the weird and wonderful.
Now, see, that's why we can't have nice things.
Oh, no.
Wrong sounder. Let's try this one.
Counterculture Wise is proud to present News of the Weird and Wonderful. Here are your hosts, Melanie Hope and Jim Monis.
What happens when you try to do 12 things at once? Things like that.
All right. So this is from my old stomping grounds of Oregon, Portland, Oregon.
Speaking of stomping, yes.
A man charged with attempted murder who escaped from a psychiatric hospital in Oregon while fully shackled was arrested Friday after he was found floundering in a muddy pond. Christopher Prey, as in pray he has better sense next time, was found buried up to the armpits in the pond.
Up to his armpits.
Up to the pits, in the pond in Portland, the Oregon State Police said. Portland Fire and Rescue personnel extricated the man using ropes, and he was taken to the hospital. Police said he gave a false name, but a hospital employee recognized Prey, and police were called. The Oregon State Police are investigating how Prey managed to escape on Wednesday as he was being taken to the Oregon State Hospital in Salem. Restrained with leg shackles, a belly chain, and handcuffs.
A belly chain?
No idea. Prey slid into the driver's seat of a van he was being transported in when the driver was outside the vehicle and drove away. I think that the driver of the vehicle should probably be, disciplined severely. Prey faces charges including attempted murder, robbery, assault, and felon in possession of a firearm in Multnomah County Circuit Court, where Portland is located. He was sent on Wednesday to the Oregon State Hospital after he was found unfit to proceed with trial, according to court records. A message left with his lawyer seeking comment was immediately returned because he was ashamed to say anything. Okay, next.
Okay, next.
What in the heck was that? I gotta give dude credit. I mean, shackled, belly chained, whatever that is, and
Belly chain. When you said belly chain, I was thinking of like a piercing of some sort. I'm like,
no.
what are you talking about?
I'm sure.
Okay, now I've got to look up shackles and belly chains.
Okay, while she's looking up belly chains, I'll go to the next one. This is my favorite story of the week, possibly.
I know. I know you wanted to read that one, so I kind of.
Okay.
I look up belly chains, and all you get are like hot models. Oh, okay. Here it is. Belly chain restraint. So it shows a dude. Actually, it's a chick, and it is literally a change. It's literally okay. We've seen them as belts typically, but it's literally a chain that wraps around the belly, and then the handcuffs are attached to that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen those before.
Yeah, but usually it's like a belt.
Right.
So in this case, he had a chain.
All right. Wherever I may roam. A Los Angeles dog proved herself master of puppies on the thing. After sneaking into one of legendary metal band Metallica's concerts, the band posted about the surprise guest at their August 25th Los Angeles show on Facebook. You might have heard we had a four-legged fan join us for at hashtag M72LA, reads their post, referring to their ongoing international tour. Despite reports to the contrary, our friend Storm snuck out of her home adjacent to SoFi Stadium and made her way to the gig all by herself. Storm thoroughly enjoyed the sold-out show, according to Metallica, who posted a picture of the adventurous pup seated at the venue. It's really cute. After a full night taking in the show with her Metallica family, Storm was safely returned with her actual family the next day, the band wrote. She had a great time listening to her favorite songs, including Bark Saturna, Master of Puppies, and The Mailman That Never Comes. They got a good sense of humor.
Yeah.
Storm...
Although they did fib a little bit because they didn't actually take the dog back home. They took the dog to the pound.
Sure.
The family found the dog.
Storm was taken to a nearby shelter after she was found at the concert, according to Facebook posts from the Animal Hope and Wellness Foundation. Her owner saw the post and picked her up the next day, the shelter said. Based on the owner's Facebook page, the dog looks cared for and loved, wrote the nonprofit. Thank you to everyone who helped to share the post. Happy the dog found its way home. And although Storm's story had a happy ending, other metal fans shouldn't follow the pup's example, according to Metallica.
Well, yeah.
You definitely shouldn't bring your furry friends to the M72 World Tour, the band wrote.
The dog wasn't like traumatized. I mean, that's some pretty loud stuff. Dogs don't tend to. Maybe the dog's deaf.
Or maybe their parents are into its parents are into Metallica. I don't know.
Metalheads?
Yeah, but this dog sure did have her day. The show was one of two sold-out performances at SoFi Stadium, which broke the venue's record for highest single show attendance. I'll bet, according to a Facebook post. The band is currently promoting its 11th studio album, 72 Seasons.
Okay then.
Which indicates how long they've been together. 72 seasons. Anyway.
Yeah, I remember when they first came out.
Kill 'Em
not
All?
when they first came out because I was still pretty young. But I remember Ride the Lightning.
Ride the Lightning is one of my
Master
favorite
Puppets
albums.
was that was my jam, man. I love Master of Puppets.
That's
was one of
another
those
great
that I
one.
knew, like every word of every song. It was
I have to admit I was a late bloomer. I didn't really get into them until the Black Album. But
it was
although I've gone back and listened to their earlier stuff, and Ride the Lightning is such an amazing album, and so is Master of Puppets. I love them both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was an angsty teenager, so Sanitarium was kind of like my thing. Alrighty. Well, I'm glad the puppers got to go to the concert, and they didn't charge them because I can just see Lars.
That's it. We'll put on a puppy suit next time we want to go to
There you go.
concert.
A puppy suit.
Fido and Rover Hope.
No, I don't think furries would be very welcome at a metal.
No.
Just call me weird, but I'm pretty sure furries would not have a good time at a metal show.
Yeah, probably not. All right,
Okay,
your turn, Melanie. This is cool.
Fascinating. Kind of hoping this is true. So we'll see here. Amelia Earhart is back in the news. There's a new lead in the almost 9-decade search for Amelia Earhart's plane, which disappeared without a trace during her ill-fated bid to become the first woman to fly around the world in 1937. My mom truly believes she was taken out by the Bermuda Triangle.
Your mom believed many odd
she believed in all
things.
that stuff.
She's a conspiracy theorist long
Okay,
before it was
why
popular.
We're going back to a photograph from a 2009 expedition in the Pacific Ocean around, okay, you probably can pronounce this, Nikumaroro
Let me have a look.
Island, a remote atoll between New Zealand and Hawaii, appears to show an engine cover buried underwater that could have been part of the boundary-breaking aviator's plane.
Nikumaroro.
So this is clear from 2009. Why are they just now reporting on it?
Don't know.
There's an object in the photo that appears to be a Lockheed Electra engine cowling. Rick Gillespie, Executive Director of the International Group for Historic Aircraft Recovery, otherwise known as TIGAR.
The wonderful thing about TIGARs. A TIGAR's a wonderful thing. Anyway.
A forensic imaging specialist is analyzing the photo, according to Gillespie, whose group has led the Earhart Project, which has been looking into the 1937 disappearance of Earhart and her navigator Fred Noonan since 1988.
Why are they still looking? I mean,
Because
she,
it's a mystery.
are they offering an extension on her warranty or something?
It's a mystery. Don't you want to know? I still want to know where that plane did they ever find it? Crud.
The bang ding owl plane.
The other one. Yeah.
I don't
Did
know.
they ever find that one?
No, I am fascinated by this. I'm just being a snark. Sorry.
Snark. Snark. What are we doing tonight, Brian? Snark. Okay, the similarity to an engine cowling and prop shaft was not noticed until years later, and the exact location was not noted at the time, which meant attempts to relocate the object were unsuccessful. If the testing reveals that the engine cover was from Earhart's twin-engine Lockheed Model 10E Special Electra, it would not explain why the plane crashed into the ocean, but it would dispel Gillespie's theory that Earhart and Noonan landed and eventually died on Nikumaroro. To support their stance, Gillespie's group cites the locations of transmissions they believe could have only been sent by her, and a photo taken of the shoreline in 1937, which the group believes could include Electra's landing gear. Have they missed all this?
Interesting.
A year after the disaster, Britain colonized the island, and newcomers reported seeing parts of planes, 1930s-era glass bottles, and bones by the remains of a campfire that researchers determined could have been from the woman of Earhart's build, according to National Geographic. I'm going to have to watch this. However, no hard evidence has ever been found to confirm that the duo landed on the uninhabited atoll. The most recent big break development came late last year when scientists from Penn State's Radiation Science and Engineering Center found never-before-seen letters on a metal plate that were recovered on the island in 1991. And if you head on over to counterculturewise.com, they have images.
Well, they show the metal plate. There it
Show
is.
the metal plate. It turns out that it was more likely to be the ruins of a World War II plane.
Oh, well.
The panel had riveted punctures that were similar to Earhart's plane, but were later determined by experts to be not a precise match, and most likely the ruins of a World War II plane that crashed several years earlier. The official U.S. position is that the plane ran out of fuel on its way to Howland Island and crashed into the ocean. That doesn't, I mean, she was a good pilot. That doesn't sound like something a good pilot would do, is a little whoopsie-doodle, out of gas, plop. I don't know, it just seems
Now,
like...
we know somebody's made a career out of that.
An ear plop. Howland Island is about 400 miles away from Nikumaroro Island and was set to be Earhart's last refueling stop before she was set to fly to California and finish her historic 29,000-mile trip.
That is something.
And she almost made it.
Yeah, she did.
Large-scale expeditions of the waters surrounding the tiny island have turned up no evidence of her plane. A third theory was that Earhart and Noonan landed on the Marshall Islands and were held hostage by the Japanese. That one sounds plausible.
Yeah, it does.
Some believers of this conspiracy theory, the one that I thought was plausible, believe that they eventually returned to the U.S. under assumed names. Okay, that one's weird. Yeah. Earhart was the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean in 1931 and set a world altitude record of 18,415 feet. Yeah, interesting. I hope they solve the mystery because I've always been fascinated by it.
It would be nice to know once and for all what happened.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, more wonderful than weird.
And
It's a little late for me on this one, but I think this is nice and something that you wouldn't expect Texas to be the first to do this.
Texas stopped charging sales tax on menstrual and baby products starting Friday, becoming the 24th state.
Okay, I guess we weren't the first.
No.
We're halfway point.
Just the latest, that's all. Becoming the 24th state to end a practice that women's rights groups argue are discriminatory. I can't disagree with that. The products, including menstrual pads and baby diapers, were previously taxed as luxury goods in Texas, not in taxes. Previously taxed as luxury goods in Texas at a 6.25% rate, but will now be classified as essential goods in a group that includes over-the-counter medicines and other medical products.
Yeah, candy bars tax the daylights, cigarettes tax the daylights, but diapers, no. Things that you need.
Yeah. Every woman knows that these products are not optional. State Senator Joan Huffman, a Republican, a driving force behind the Texas bill, said in a statement last year, they are essential to our health and well-being and should be tax exempt. The bill was signed into law by Texas Gov. Greg Abbott in June after passing the state Senate on a 29-2 vote and the House by a 129-14 vote. That's pretty overwhelming. That's fantastic. About 20 states still tax period products at their standard rate, according to the Alliance for Period Supplies. Period products are essential and should be recognized as material.
Every time you say period products, I'm thinking of like Victorian.
Yeah.
Elizabethan.
Exactly.
I've just never heard them called that before.
I hadn't either until like 10 seconds ago. Period products are essential and should be recognized as material basic needs rather than luxury goods, the nonprofit states on its site. Well, that's, it's one of those duh moments, but
yeah,
I guess because there was money to be made. Advocates say
the government that was making the money off it. Now it's the government that's like, oh yeah, our bad.
Advocates say the cost of menstrual products is discriminatory in itself because men do not have to purchase the products, but the taxing the sales for mandatory purchases exacerbates the difference. Pharmacy giant CVS announced last year it would reduce the price of its store brand period products by 25% in order to reduce the burden of the so-called period tax. Good for you guys. Purchases now for that I'll go there and get another long receipt. Cool. Yeah. Purchases of period products should have been tax exempt from the start.
You could use them as period products.
There is that. Should have been tax exempt from the start, just like prescription drugs.
Yeah, I think we should all get refunds, especially those of us who are already postmenopausal.
Yeah.
We should get refunds for all these years.
Yeah. What? Due to lack of adequate representation in state legislatures when tax bills were passed and the stigma around talking about menstruation, state governments have heedlessly bilked women out of billions of dollars on purchases of these medical necessities, she said. She's not wrong. She is quite correct. That's not something you have any control over. You've got to eat. If you're a woman, you've got to menstruate.
Exactly.
It's... Note that I said if you're a woman. No, leave that alone. Leave it alone.
Gotta.
Well, under normal circumstances.
It's not like you have a choice. Okay.
Right. And...
Alrighty, we have a really interesting story. It's a miracle. And this will be a good place to bring on our new sponsor and take a quick break.
Absolutely.
So, you know how I love the critters? This is really interesting. Apparently, in a significant conservation achievement, the Fort Worth Zoo, has proudly announced the birth of a rare and endangered species, the gharial crocodile. They're really cool looking. They look like those pike fish with the pointy noses.
Yeah.
The gharial, also known as the fish-eating crocodile, I thought all crocodile ate fishes, is among the longest of all living crocodilians. It is well adapted to catching fish because of its long, narrow snout and 110 sharp interlocking teeth. I want to know who the person is that sat there and counted the teeth.
I know. Forget being a pastor. I'm going to be a gharial crocodile dentist.
There you go.
There you go.
You'll never run out of teeth.
That's true.
The wild gharial population has declined drastically since the 1930s and has been listed as critically endangered in the IUCN Red List since 2007. The Fort Worth Zoo is the only institution in the U.S. to have produced multiple offspring. The zoo is thrilled to announce this monumental conservation success, the hatchlings of 4 critically endangered gharial crocodiles, the zoo said in a release. In the wild, it is estimated, oh my goodness, that only about 200 reproducing adults remain. That is endangered.
That's very endangered.
Of the 35 gharial crocodiles living in U.S. zoos, 4 are in the care of the Fort Worth Zoo, including 1 male and 3 females. I bet you he's having a good time. New hatchlings were produced from 2 different females. I thought they had lots and lots of babies, not just 4. The Fort Worth Zoo is the only institution in the United States to have produced multiple offspring of this critically endangered species, the zoo said in a statement. The zoo is incredibly proud to announce this groundbreaking conservation success, quadrupling the number of births to ever take place in the U.S.
Support your local zoo.
I think our zoo pass gets us in to see them, doesn't it?
Yes, we could go to Fort Worth and
pollinate. Well, congratulations to mommies and daddy crocodile. That is really awesome.
Really cool.
All right. Well, let's hear from our newest sponsor, and then we'll head on into. We'll take a quick break, and we'll come back with. This is why we can't have nice things.
It's just no fun being a healthy, happy person these days. Everybody looks down on your fitness and peace of mind. It's no longer fashionable to be attractive, well-read, or able to choose the correct bathroom. If you aren't overweight, overmedicated, and overtly insane, you just don't fit in. How can you be one of the cool kids? What You Got can help. What You Got, the newest drug from CCW Labs, immediately enters your bloodstream and attaches to your weakest cells, enhancing the most likely disability that will get you back on the path to mainstream society. Happy users have reported manifesting such beneficial, socially stigmatizing ailments as ADD, gender dysphoria, and syphilis.
I was a completely happy and healthy husband and father. Now, thanks to What You Got, not only am I fashionably diabetic, but I now have the pleasure of living alone. Thanks, What You Got.
I used to be a happiness addict. Now with the help of What You Got, I'm a drug addict. Behind the dumpster, 20 minutes, $50. Kisses another 25.
Now let me tell you, before What You Got, I pastored a conservative church with a faithful, family-based congregation. Now I have become the woman that this man has always knew she was. Freedom is mine, and it can be yours with What You Got.
Has the sane life tied you in a knot? We'll fix that up with What You Got.
Don't take What You Got if you're allergic to What You Got. You know, every single one of these disclaimers I've read for new drugs starts out by saying don't take the drug if you're allergic to it. Why would you take something that you're allergic to? That's like purposefully walking into a cloud of bees, or taking a bath with a toaster, or shopping on Black Friday. I know that these disclaimers are supposed to protect people, but what if the people are too stupid to protect? I think CCW Labs needs to invent a new drug that makes people smarter. One that really works and actually makes you really smarter, not just think you're smart when you're really dumb like voting Democrat. We could call it Brain Go. Then we could shorten the name to make it sound cool and use it in a song like B-R-N-G-O, 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 and Brain Go makes your brain go. We could feed it to Aaliyah and make sure it works. If she can remember to go potty and then come back in without eating any bugs, then we've got a winner. I'm going to go talk to the scientists at CCW Labs right now. B-R-N-G-O, B-R-N-G-O, B-R-N-G-O.
We still need the disclaimers read.
puppy. Oh, look, a rock.
I guess that will have to do for now.
In this digital society, making connections is quickly becoming a lost art form. Yet, if you are a small business owner, building your network is the only way you can get ahead. Can these skills be learned? You bet they can. Read Nose to Nose Networking, no-nonsense in-person networking tips from a master. Who's the master? Well, who better to teach networking and friend-building skills than a golden retriever? The author, Melanie Hope, takes the antics of Abigail and translates them into the human experience. Through Abby, you will learn how to set your intention, build a network, and get into and out of conversations with grace. Find it on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, in hard copy or on Kindle or Nook. Visit counterculturewise.com for direct links. At Deanna's School of Diction, we have helped launch many careers, from actors you know and love to CEOs of major corporations. We've also assisted those who serve you in politics. Here are some of our most famous graduates.
And I came away from the job really understanding the necessary for the juncture. And anything we can do to help, I think we should.
Yeah, I've never been to Hawaii, and neither has my family. I guess I haven't crashed a bank, you know. So given that I'm the last person, I don't have much left to ask, but I will, let me ask you this one particular question to put to everyone here on that. And is it an inside joke?
For us at every moment in time, and certainly this one, to see the moment in time in which we exist and are present, and to be able to contextualize it, to understand where we exist in the history and in the moment as it relates not only to the past but the future.
To finishing the NDA this week has been good bipartisan cooperation and a string of
If you're looking to start your political career by boosting your communication skills, call
Joe 30330
today. Deanna School of Diction, the language of fame.
Yeah, I get it. Your parents were jerks and you're traumatized. But that doesn't mean you should use your lousy childhood as an excuse to be a lousy adult. Stop being such a whiner and get past your past already. Buy Get Over It and Get Started, the book by Melanie Hope that will get you out of your self-imposed failure and on the road to greatness. Available in paperback, Kindle, and Nook.
Hi, it's me again, your favorite trader. And you know what that means? It's time to shop at your local Trader Joe's. This week, you can pick up a box of our Fetterman fettuccine for half off when you buy one at full price. Best served completely fried next to a collapsed bridge. We also have a special purchase on rubber gators, Winnebagos, rudaboters. Oh, you know, the big ugly turnip things. They're yummy, damn it. Thanks to a special deal I personally made with a supplier, you can get a bottle of Vladimir's Vigorous Vodka for just 10 lousy bucks. Lovingly distilled in Kiev by Ukrainian orphans and widows, it goes great with Coke. Pepsi. Yeah, Pepsi. Or RC, whatever. Definitely not Coke. There's no Coke at Trader Joe's. At least none anyone can trace anyway. And don't forget to sign up for our drawing for a free pint of Pelosi ice cream, featuring our newest flavor, Crony Spumoni. A $50, $70, $25 value. What are you waiting for? Come by Trader Joe's, or I'll take you out back by the woodshed. And don't forget to ask my son about our influencer specials.
Max, stop yelling to be let out. It's dark out, and there are all kinds of things out there that will get you. Name one, Father! Well, for starters, there's the bison. They'll trample anything that even comes close. Well, then I'll avoid the hooved monstrosities. The smell alone is enough to keep anyone away. They are delicious, though. There's also coyotes. We see them all the time in the fields. What would I care about coyotes? I have no interest in crossing the border. That's not the kind... Never mind. Our neighbor Mike says he's seen some mountain lions in the area, too. Well, I am from Las Vegas, so that makes me a valley lion. I'm sure we'd have plenty to talk about. No, Max, these are really big cats. Predators. These are cougars. Oh, Father, I am not afraid of cougars. Mumsy was a cougar before she married you. I may not be as long in the tooth as you are, but I am certainly no spring kitten anymore, and thus not cougar bait. That's not the kind... Never mind. Look, I'm putting my foot down. You are not going outside in the middle of the night in the middle of the heart of Texas. There's rattlesnakes and scorpions and skunks and armadillos and... what now? They're a kind of armored possum. Never mind. Just trust me. You don't want to mess with them. I don't know, Father. Those dillo things sound delicious. Plus, there's those shiny green bugs. Max, those are poisonous. Oh, Father, you worry too much. I am a grown cat. I can take care of myself.
Max, can you come help me with my pillow? It just doesn't feel cuddly enough.
Duty calls, Father. We will continue this discussion another time, but before I leave, I want to remind our dear listeners and viewers to visit our merch store. You can choose from a wide variety of apparel, accessories, and other goodies. Please keep us afloat. Please help keep Chuck around to report the crazy goings-on in Washington, wherever that is, and elsewhere. I swear, he is not making this up. By contributing today, you will also help keep Mumsy and Father on their anxiety meds. Hey! For these reasons and so many more, I beseech you to visit our merch store at counterculturewise.com. And now, CCW News presents Holy Crap! This is actually happening! Even more Democratic than before edition, September 3rd, 2023. I'm Chuck U. Farley. The big news this week is Trump has actually not been indicted for a full 7 days, at least not that has been reported on yet. The D.C. judge presiding over the election interference trial has set the date for March 4th of next year, literally the day before Super Tuesday, because that's not election interference or anything. Meanwhile, several DNC leaders are lobbying states to remove Trump's name from the ballot, assuming he does not get Arkansas before the election. In other words, Democrats have turned to fascism in order to preserve our democracy. In other fascist news, former White House chief medical advisor Dr. Anthony Fauci admitted that no studies proved any benefits from masking during his pet pandemic, but he wants us to go back to wearing them anyway. The science has spoken, even though he's not backed up by any real science. As the WGA strike continues into its 5th month, the top 5 late-night hosts, Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, Seth Meyers, and John Oliver, partnered up for a podcast they dubbed Strike Force 5 in an effort to raise funds to help their suspended staffers out.
Between technical glitches, swearing into the camera, and unfunny double Jimmy jokes, the result was so disastrous that the first show actually raised more money from their staffers willing to pay them to stay off the air. Political handlers continue abusing elders and the mentally challenged, or both in the case of Mitch McConnell, who had yet another blue screen of death moment in front of cameras. Between him, cackling Kamala, and the lawless offices of Feinstein and Fetterman, Washington, D.C. is now home to more certified intellectual disabilities than the Special Olympics. At least no one has to worry about the cabbage-in-chief getting too tired from doing his job as a meat puppet. Thus far, he has racked up 382 days of time off the job. Biden's strategic vacays may just be a way to help keep him out of the press, as most of them line up with his all-too-frequent failures. He was playing in Camp David while the Taliban took over Afghanistan and collected all the weapons he left behind. Both he and the Dow took a tumble on the same day. Lucky for Biden, he was on his bicycle, so he didn't have to contend with the highest gas prices to date. He had his feet up at home when Putin invaded Ukraine, and again when the Chinese spy balloon had its way with the entire continent and the residents of East Palestine were gassed out of their homes. Recently, he literally had to take a day off from his month off to go insult Maui after the tragic fires. It turns out that, at 40%, his percentage of vacation days in office has already exceeded his approval ratings. For CCW News, this has been Holy Crap, this is actually happening. I'm Chuck U. Farley. Good night, and may God help us.
And we are back.
I've grown to love that 20s music.
That's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. All right, here we go. Now see, that's why we can't have nice things. So we actually have a couple of stories in a row. One that's just, I'm sick of these people. And then, well, maybe they had a point. So I'm going to let you run with this one, Jim.
I'm going to run with it. Actually just walk kind of quickly because it involves sand.
Well, actually, it ends up involving mud, but I'll let you start out with the sand.
All right.
The video on this is priceless, so I highly recommend finding the video, which we will have at counterculturewise.com. But if you haven't seen it yet, it's hilarious because I'm telling you what, the Nevada tribal cops were not playing.
Climate and anti-capitalist activists blocked a road leading to Burning Man on Sunday, the annual event's opening day, creating miles of gridlock and leading to clashes with motorists and tribal rangers in the Nevada desert. Video and photos posted on X, the website formerly known as Twitter, show a trailer blocking the road that leads to Black Rock City, along with about half a dozen protesters, some of whom locked themselves to the trailer, of course, and banners with signs saying, "Burners of the World Unite," "Abolish Capitalism," and "General Strike for Climate." Cliche. Also blocked the road. A sign reading, "Ban private jets," was draped across the asphalt.
Ban private jets? Because so many people were flying their private jets to Burning Man. That makes a lot of sense.
The blockade aimed to spotlight capitalism's inability to address climate and ecological breakdown. Just ask the Chinese. Jerks. According to a statement from Seven Circles, a coalition of activist organizations who organized the protest. The blockade is also a protest against the popularization of Burning Man among affluent people who do not live the stated values of Burning Man, resulting in the commodification of the event.
You have to do the whiny voice.
They have a point about that, though. It used to be a free for all, and now it's a spend a lot of money for all. That I will agree with.
Yeah.
I mean that's not a condemnation of capitalism, however, but whatever.
Well, it kind of is because they kind of let capitalism completely take over, but then again, they were the ones in charge of it. So.
Yeah. The group emphasizes the current existential crisis and importance of honesty when social collapse is at risk. Can we please have social collapse? Can we, please, can we? The protest brought clogged traffic, with many people getting out of their cars or trying to find ways around the roadblock. One video shows confrontations between the protesters and people stuck in traffic, some of whom said they needed to go to work. Several motorists tried to remove the barricade themselves, according to videos posted online. One video shows a white pick-em-up truck that appears to be from the Pyramid Lake Ranger Station, a tribal law enforcement agency, broadcasting a message over the vehicle's PA system telling demonstrators this is a state route and everybody will be arrested if they don't disperse and get off the road. 30 seconds, send your leader to my vehicle, let's talk. Get off the f***ing road, someone can be heard saying. Another clip shows a ranger's truck blasting through the barricade with its sirens and lights sounding through the desert. An announcement comes over a truck's PA system telling demonstrators, I'm going to take you all out, you better move. An official then gets out of the truck with a gun drawn, yelling at protesters to get down now. The protesters do not appear to be armed, with demonstrators repeatedly saying they are nonviolent.
I'm not violent. It was really funny.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to see some nonviolent protesters for a change. Yeah. I used to be one. Several protesters were put. Yeah. Several protesters were put in handcuffs at the scene, according to the video. It is unclear when officers were called how many people were arrested or why an officer pulled a gun on what appeared to be unarmed protesters. Officials with Pyramid Lake did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Jonathan Brunez, Deputy Administrator with Nevada State Parks, confirmed that the responding officers were not Nevada State Park Rangers or State of Nevada employees. In its statement, Seven Circles criticized Burning Man's apolitical stance. Why would you... I mean, isn't Burning Man's about freedom? It's about taking an apolitical stance, isn't it?
It used to be, yeah.
What it characterizes as the event, insufficient steps toward attaining carbon negativity and ecological regeneration for Black Rock City by 2030.
Because they hate trees.
Yeah. Much more can must be done in the desert where there are no trees. There's horses with no name, but that's about it. The group has put forward 3 demands. I love when these dimwits put out demands.
Well, I mean, they've been... The thing is they're getting away with it in Europe, and people are getting fed up. And trying it here in the U.S., we don't play that.
No, we don't.
I mean, the video is hilarious because the cop they were tribal police. And,
anyway,
he just ran right over them, and they're chained to the barricades, and he drags them for a little bit. It was hilarious, and he gets out, gun drawn. He's like, "Get on the ground!" And like, "Hey, peaceful, get out of the way." We cleared them up.
The group has put forward 3 demands for Burning Man leadership. The next paragraph's I love this. I got to read the whole thing. It's just a little bit more, including advocating for systemic political and economic change, mobilizing burners to collaborate with social justice and environmental movements on strikes and calls to actions to enforce bringing about systemic change and to lead by example. This is my favorite part. An online petition started by Emily Collins, a burner and co-founder of Rave Revolution, one of the groups involved in the protest, had collected 23 signatures early Monday. A whopping 23 signatures.
Ooh, impressive.
Burning Man began Sunday and runs through September 4th. Blah, blah, blah.
Okay, but now you got to read the next one because, like I said, they kind of had a point, I guess.
All right. I mean, I understand their point of view, but that's so cliched. Anyway, tens of thousands of people gathered for the Burning Man Festival remained stranded in the Nevada desert on Sunday after storms had swept through the area as authorities investigated a possible death and worked to open exit paths by the end of Labor Day weekend. Organizers closed...
Did they die in the rain?
It appears so. Organizers closed vehicular access to the Counterculture Festival and attendees trudged through mud, many barefoot or wearing plastic bags on their feet. The revelers were urged to shelter in place and conserve food, water, and other supplies. Most remained hunkered down, hoping roads opened as early as Monday, although a few managed to walk several miles to the nearest town. Celebrity DJ Diplo posted a video to Instagram on Saturday evening showing him and comedian Chris Rock riding on the back of a fan's pickup truck. He said they had walked 6 miles through the mud before hitching a ride. I legit walked the side of the road for hours with my thumb out, wrote Diplo, whose real name is Thomas Wesley Pence. The counterculture gathering in the Black Rock Desert, about 110 miles north of Reno.
I'm confused.
Yeah.
They're in the middle of the dang desert.
Yeah.
How do they lock them in? Is there a fence now?
I guess.
There never was before.
I don't know. I have never been, and now I'm too old to want to go. 20 years ago, I would have gone.
30 years I would have gone.
But anyway, not bothering anymore. Attracts nearly 80,000 artists, musicians, and activists who spend tens of millions of dollars in Nevada. That's some serious dough. Combining wilderness camping with avant-garde performances at a Mardi Gras-like celebration, the event typically goes for a week and emphasizes self-sufficiently.
They're literally like mostly naked.
Meaning most people bring in their own food, water, and other supplies. Disruptions are nothing new to the festival. Organizers had to temporarily halt entrances to the festival in 2018 due to dust storms. I do remember that. And the event was twice canceled altogether during the pandemic. Those who remained Sunday described a resilient community making the most of the muddy conditions that made it difficult to walk or even bike around Burning Man. Many posted selfies of themselves covered in mud, dancing or splashing in the makeshift lakes. Well, that's every year they post those things.
Yeah.
Honestly, we're having a great time, Teresa Gilani, who is at Burning Man, expected to be there for the rest of the week. We have not witnessed any negativity, any rough times, she said. Some people were supposed to leave a few days ago, so they're out of water or food, but I am an organizer, so I went around and found more water and food. There is more than enough here for people. We just have to get it to everyone. Why are organizers so disorganized? Ed Fletcher of Sacramento.
All the people, the organizers, would be the organized ones.
Ed Fletcher of Sacramento, a longtime Burning Man attendee, arrived in Black Rock City over a week ago.
What was his name? Tomatoes?
No. I said it was Sacramento. I call it Tomatoes. His name is Ed Fletcher. It's a normal name.
Honest to God, I thought that was his name. And I was willing to go with it. Tomatoes.
Arrived in Black Rock City over a week ago to start setting up when the rain hit. He and his campmates threw a party and danced the night away in their muddy shoes. That's how you do it. That's how you Burning Man. No matter what happens, you just celebrate, you party.
It's like Woodstock.
Yeah.
You know, that's how it's done.
Minus the amplification.
Yeah, that's how it's done.
Yeah. Radical self-reliance is one of the principles of Burning Man. He said, Burning Man has always been a little bit about the struggle. The desert will try to kill you in some way, shape, or form. Don't I know it? But anyway, so on and so forth.
Lather, rinse, repeat.
Lather, rinse, repeat.
So, thunderstorms turning it into a big mud thing. Did we find out how the lady died?
Hold on.
Okay,
no.
We're looking up how no, we don't know. Okay.
No,
well,
we don't know.
I hope she didn't drown or something. All right, well, in another shocking development, electric vehicles are bursting into flames in Florida after coming in contact with salt water swirled up by Hurricane Idalia. We named it Idalia. All right. The firefighters in Palm Harbor, Florida, citing the incidents that involved Teslas, took to social media and warned hybrid car owners that their vehicles could combust if exposed to salt water.
Here comes the Florida car, boom, boom.
Because these are so much better for the environment with all their imported Chinese parts and batteries that are non-recyclable and never degrade and, you know, basically being coal-powered considering they're plugging into the grid and on and on and on. If you own a hybrid or electric vehicle that has come into contact with salt water due to recent flooding within the last 24 hours, it is crucial to relocate the vehicle from your garage without delay. Saltwater exposure can trigger combustion in lithium-ion batteries. If possible, transfer your vehicle to higher ground where it can explode up in the air. The warning was also issued for owners of electric golf carts, scooters, and bicycles with lithium-ion batteries, as these vehicles are also at potential risk of catching fire when they get wet. Sorry, but I really want to drive a vehicle that's going to explode and catch on fire when it gets wet. That sounds like a good idea to me. Oh my God. Salt water poses a threat to such vehicles even when the water dries out, as the salt residue can create bridges between the battery's cells, which can further create electrical connections that can ignite a fire. In Florida, a Tesla car which was submerged in Pinellas County unexpectedly went up in flames when the fire crews were towing one of the vehicles. Tesla, in its guidance for handling a submerged vehicle, has also warned the buyers about the risks. Treat your vehicle as if it had been in an accident and contact your insurance company, Tesla says in its guidance for handling a submerged vehicle. Safely tow or move the vehicle at least 50 feet from structures or other compostable materials. Sorry, this isn't funny. Such
But
as
you
other
sure are
cars
acting like it is, woman.
and personal property. I'm saving the environment. Kaboom.
Save yourselves.
Okay, I know Jim's gonna love this next one. I know how you feel.
In
about
a gotta eyeball, baby. Dr. Burns Whole Health is voluntarily recalling a selection of its eye drops for fear they may be contaminated by bacteria and fungi. The recall, which was shared last week by the FDA, includes the company's MSM drops 5% and 15% solutions, Dr. Burns organic castor oil eye drops. Why on earth would I put castor oil in my eyeballs?
I don't know.
I used to have my mom had me drink it once in a while when I was a kid, but
She made you drink it? They just rubbed it on my belly.
yeah.
Rub on my belly.
And Dr. Burns MSM missed 15% solutions. An FDA analysis found one batch, lot 6786, of Dr. Burns MSM drops 5% solution showed bacterial and fungal contamination. Out of an abundance of caution, Dr. Barnesy Barn is recalling all the other... Yeah, you go, send your stuff back to me, see? I don't want you to die, see? I want your eyeballs to work, see? Is recalling all the other lots of the 5%, 15% strengths of MSM solution and the other products. The
Why
FDA...
do you want MSM in your eyeballs?
Why would you want castor oil in your eyeballs? I don't know. Maybe there's something further below that will explain that, because I don't know. FDA noted that using contaminated eye drops could lead to minor to serious infections that could potentially affect vision and even progress to a life-threatening infection. Thank you, Dr. Burns. The FDA said Saturday that Dr. Burns has received 2 reports of adverse events related to the recall. Consumers, distributors, and retailers that have any of the recalled products should stop using them.
I hope the recall was audio, because if you're sticking castor oil and MSM in your eyeballs, you probably can't read it if it was in the paper.
Oh. The New York Post reached out to Dr. Burns for comment. This is not the first time eye drops have been recalled this year. In January, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention urged doctors and patients to stop using Care artificial tears. They've been linked to at least 55 infections in 12 states.
Artificial tears is just supposed to be saline solution.
It is.
Isn't it?
At the time, the product was blamed for cases of permanent vision loss, hospitalizations, and death.
What?
It does say 1 death.
Wow, those are some
CDC
bad
recommends
eye drops,
the
man.
clinicians and patients immediately discontinue the use of... Is Ezricare? Okay, I don't care. Enzicare, whatever. Artificial tears until the epidemiological investigation and laboratory analysis are complete. Oh, my God.
That's a little bit terrifying.
By March, the CDC and FDA had identified 68 patients in 16 states who had been infected with a rare strain of bacteria after using the product. 4 people even had to have an eyeball surgically removed, while 8 infections caused permanent vision loss.
Oh, my God.
Florida grandmother Clara Olivia claimed she was
suing.
I would hope. As she was declared legally blind after her right eye was surgically removed following use of Ezricare artificial tears.
That's horrifying.
My client is horribly injured and now legally blind. I am currently investigating
eyeballs.
Investigating others similarly injured by this recalled product. Olivia's attorney, Natasha Cha-Ching, wrote in an email to...
Natasha Kaching? Why did she get Foghorn Leghorn as her lawyer?
I don't know. I thought... I don't know. It was just there. These companies must be held accountable for devastating... You know, dude, I was using eye drops recently because of itchy eyes. Now I'm afraid to...
No, but those are just saline. That's not...
Yeah.
I mean, just... Bleh. That's a little terrifying.
That's a little terrifying. Don't use off-brand crap when it comes to eye drops, okay? Stick to the stuff.
I mean,
Stick to the stuff you know.
My goodness.
Just because it's organic doesn't mean it's good for you, I guess.
I'm I'm still wondering about the castor oil. That just sounds so off the beaten path.
No, it wasn't castor oil. I remember now. It was cod liver oil, my mom.
Okay, that's even worse. I'm just going to squeeze a fish into my eyeballs? How does...
No, I mean, I didn't... Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I mean, have you seen fish eyeballs? Really? They bug out of the fish's head? No, I don't want that. Like Allie. Anyway, poor Aaliyah. She's got these bugging eyeballs. She's got the Peter Lorre thing going on. And she always looks like she's asking for forgiveness for something she did wrong when she didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, she does. She's a cutie.
Anyway.
But she's looking for a home, so if anybody wants a really well-trained dog. Alrighty, one more story, and then...
This is priceless.
Okay, I'm going to try not to laugh. This is a terrible,
No, you're
terrible story.
going to laugh.
I do not condone this. Disavow, disavow, disavow.
These snorts are brought to you by counterculturewise.com.
Only in Australia. A Melbourne man who overpowered and raped an intruder will spend at least 4 years in prison. Clay Holland, 32, faced the Supreme Court of Victoria on Tuesday when he was sentenced to 8 years imprisonment with a non-parole period of 4 years and 10 months. Holland's victim, quote-unquote, Shane Cox, more like sprained Cox, had broken into a unit in Melton and Melbourne's West in March 2021, armed with a knife and wearing a mask. I say he was asking for it. I mean, the first thing I would have said on the jury is, what were you wearing?
Wow. That's even further than I would have gone. That's pretty bad.
Okay. He had asked for money and drugs and was allegedly linked to others who had gone to the home to stand over a resident? I'm just going to stand here. Mr. Cox, 36, who was high on meth, of course, was overpowered by Holland, who was a guest at the home. Oh, it wasn't even his house! Mr. Cox was beaten with a baseball bat. I like this guy. I don't think he should be in jail.
I'm willing to bet dude doesn't do it again when he gets out.
And was incapacitated on... No, you send him to jail. That's like you might as well have rewarded him. Now he can do it every day, all day. Was beaten with a baseball bat and was incapacitated on the floor where Holland then raped him. God. His body was found at the scene under a pile of blankets a day later by police who arrived on the property on an unrelated matter. Oh, God. He was hog-tied, his mouth was duct-taped, and his pants were pulled down to his upper thighs. I've got to stop laughing. This is terrible. In March, a jury convicted Holland of one charge of rape, but he was found not guilty of... Oh, he died. The dude died. So they put him away for rape, but not for killing the dude? Okay, this is bizarre. Justice Christopher Beale described Holland... Oh, now I'm not laughing anymore. Offering as a premeditated and particularly humiliating. Offending? His offending was premeditated. Your rape of Mr. Cox was callous, degrading, and humiliating act of retribution. Well, breaking into somebody's house in the middle of the night wearing a mask and carrying a knife could be said that as well. Holland's mental impairment, time in prison during the pandemic, and separation from his 3 young children were all taken into consideration.
Okay,
for sentencing.
see, once again, this is just like the drunk driver story at the top of the first hour.
Yeah.
Mental impairment.
Yeah.
Nobody mentioned that up until
Nope.
several words before the end of the article.
Time in prison during the pandemic.
None of that was mentioned
None
before.
of it was mentioned. So, dude was crazy. Speaking of crazy.
Oh, heavens, heavens,
Speaking
heavens.
of crazy, are you ready for this?
Yes.
Waiting for him to put his headphones on.
Welcome to the CCW Evening News with your host, Maximilian von Riegelbieser. March 2023.
Good evening. Former President Donald Trump has been indicted by the Manhattan District Attorney, whoever that is, on 34 charges related to a hush money payment to a woman who didn't hush. Here are the charges: falsifying business records in the first degree, 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 falsifying business records in the first degree.
4 minutes later.
Falsifying business records in the first degree, and lastly, falsifying business records in the first degree.
June and July 2023.
Good evening. Former President Donald Trump has been indicted again, this time for taking declassified classified documents from the White House. Here are the charges: concealing a document, concealing a document, concealing a... I refuse to do this again.
August 2023.
Good evening. Former President Donald Trump has been indicted again, this time for advising protesters to peaceably and legally assemble at the Capitol, thereby apparently triggering a massive violent insurrection that threatened to tear the very fabric of our country into little tiny ribbons. Here are the charges: obstructing an official proceeding, obstructing... Oh, look it up online.
Also August 2023.
Good evening. Today's Donald Trump indictment involves having the effrontery of trying to make sure votes were accurately counted in a state where, by all accounts, they were inaccurately counted. Here are the charges. Let's see. Solicitation of violation of oath by public officer, solicitation of violation of oath by public officer, solicitation of violation of... Moving on! Ah, here's some different charges, thank God. False statements and writings, filing false documents. Well, that could have fallen under false statements and writings. Oh well, let's continue, shall we? Conspiracy to commit forgery, but that could have fallen under... Ladies and gentlemen, it is this anchor's humble opinion that this entire enterprise is being run by the paper lobby. Good night!
Picture, if you will, one Max von Riegelbieser, a hard-working cat journalist finding himself frustrated with the increasing absurdity of the indictments of the former president. Deep in his heart, he believes that this madness is finally winding down. But what he doesn't know is that the dark forces of desperation behind these indictments have only begun. Next stop for Max, the Trump Spite Zone.
We will return after this message. No, really.
My fellow Americans, it's me again, your favorite, the best president ever. Well, I'm preparing for a possible debate with Rhonda Scratchpost and the Elvis impersonator, Viva Las Vegas Swami. I want to answer a question that many of you have asked me lately. How can a man my age keep from turning into someone like tired, sleepy Basement Joe, especially with all the witch hunts and fake news surrounding me? How do I keep my energy levels up while the swamp is trying to pull me down? It's simple. Donald Trump nutrition bars. They are the best money can buy, believe me. One bar serves as a complete meal replacement. They're chock full of protein surrounded by the finest non-vegan sources available. They're not for soy boys. Those guys are sad. Real sad. And you will love the flavors. Coffee crunch, no bite and nougat, Ivanka vanilla, and grab 'em by the granola. When the swamp people want to fight, to hassle, riot, and indict, how do you get some mighty might? Eat a Trump bar. Yeah, that's right. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
And now, back to the news. Yes, really.
The following month.
So, Alex, are you saying we should indict Clarence Thomas just for having a rich donor as a friend?
Yes, Mr. Cat. Rich Republicans are evil.
I see. But if it were the other way around...
Hi, I'm Allie. I'm a puppy, and I have some pieces of paper for you.
All right. Sorry, Alex. We interrupt this interview to the max for a CCW special report. Former President Donald Trump is being indicted. Again? Here are the charges. Blackmail of a public official, blackmail of a public official, blackmail of a public official, etc., etc. 2 weeks later. So what do you have planned for this weekend, dear sister?
Oh, I think I'm going to go with Mommy and Daddy to the movies. I really want some popcorn and red vines and root beer and a hot dog and chips and...
I'll get it. Thank you, dear sir. It's an express envelope. Let's see what's inside. Oh, dear.
What is it, Big Brother?
We interrupt this episode of She's So Fritzy to bring you the CCW special report. Donald Trump has been indicted again. Again. Here are the charges. Lying to Congress, lying to Congress, lying to Congress, lying to Congress. 2 days later.
Not so fast, you agent of the CCP. You're going to stop influencing our free press, or I'm gonna...
We interrupt the O'Reilly's files to bring you the CCW report. Donald Trump. Again. Indicted. Again. The charges. Accounting errors. Accounting errors. Accounting errors. Accounting errors. Over the next several years. Running a red light. Running a red light. Running a red light. Bouncing a check. Bouncing a check. Bouncing a check. Fishing after dusk. Fishing after dusk. Fishing after dusk. Expired dog license. Expired dog license. Expired dog license. Frankly for the hell of it. Frankly for the hell of it. Frankly for the hell of it. And then the inevitable. Welcome back to CCW News. We continue with our coverage of the funeral of Donald J. Trump. The hearse containing the former president's coffin is making its way to his final resting place, accompanied by a Secret Service detail. The motorcade is expected to arrive at the Memorial Park in the next 10 minutes or so.
This just came in on the wire, Big Brother.
Thank you, my beloved sister. Here is the latest update. A federal prosecutor is bringing forth an indictment against the corpse of Donald Trump? Here are the charges. Blocking traffic. Blocking traffic. Blocking... Screw this! I am out of here! Mark Twain once said that when Congress is in session, no American is safe. We can safely include cats in that statement. The truth is, no sentient species can escape the Congress in the Trump spite zone. Thank you for doing such an amazing job on that.
Well, you're welcome.
I cannot do this without my wife. I gotta tell you.
I had the idea, and I just barely started writing it, and I handed it off to you, knowing that you would take it to new heights.
It didn't start off being a Twilight Zone thing. It really didn't. But it's like, how can I frame this in a new way that we hadn't done before? Yeah. It's like, we want to thank our friend Nick Pierce for providing once again the voice of Donald John Trump.
Twice today.
Yes.
Twice the Trumpiness, twice.
We will have him back on the show as a guest, and we'll definitely be using his talents in future
we've got some
sketches.
More, we've got the debates coming up. So
yeah.
We're definitely, eventually there's going to be the orange debates.
I believe that will be so, yes. Yes.
All righty.
This is not Bubba Walters. It is no longer 2020. But this is your new abnormal.
It's not a conflict of interest. There's been no indication of any conflict of interest from Ukraine or anywhere else. Period. I'm not gonna respond to that. But I'm not joking when I say this. If you're ever working with me and I hear you treat another colleague with disrespect, talk down to someone, I promise you I will fire you on the spot. On the spot. No ifs, ands, or buts. Read the polls, Jack. You guys are all the same.
I don't want to hear any more of these lies.
about reckless spending. I'm too long in the tooth to fool with this any longer. Not a joke. No, and I'm thanking you. That's not what I said. You're playing a game with me. I know. The answer is no. I think what happens is we have to demonstrate the purpose, the single most important thing. I'm the only white boy within 20 miles. Why the hell would I take a test? Come on, man. That's like saying you, before you got in this program, if you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not, what do you think, huh? Everybody is entitled to be treated with decency and dignity. What a stupid son of a bitch.
Wow, that's respectful. He should be fired on the spot because he said so.
Yeah. No such luck, gang. We're stuck with Pampers pants over there.
Call him Old Yeller because he's yelling all the time.
Old Yeller,
He gets
come back, Yeller.
Into dementia.
Doggone this dog.
The more
in the
angry he is.
So this is.
I love the smell of fascism in the morning.
This is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Chuck alluded to this earlier.
Yeah, he did. But I thought we'd go a little bit more in depth because they really think they're going to do this.
This is the editorial advisory board of the Maryland Daily Record. The Maryland State Board. Should I use a voice?
Do you have a Maryland voice? What does
No.
a Marylander sound like?
Happy birthday. No,
Wrong, Maryland.
that would take too long. The Maryland State Board of Elections is obligated under the U.S. Constitution to refuse to list Donald Trump on the Republican presidential primary ballot.
Oh, they're liberals. Make it sound like
The
Bob.
same. Make it sound like who? Oh, Bob. Okay. Yeah. The Maryland State Board of Elections is obligated under the U.S. Constitution to refuse to list Donald Trump on the Republican presidential primary ballot. The same with the general election should Trump be the unlawfully designated nominee of that party. The same goes for any electors pledged to Trump. All write-in ballots for Trump should be considered null and void. So he is now and forever disqualified from holding... Don't interrupt! From holding any federal or state... It actually worked. Wow. For a state office under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment by having given aid and comfort at the very least to those engaged in insurrection.
Aid and comfort?
Aid and comfort.
Petting them and giving them cookies.
I don't know, maybe putting a Band-Aid on them, I don't know. And rebellion against the United States by seeking to overturn the election of Joseph Biden as president.
So walking into a building with no weapons can overthrow an entire country?
No.
I mean, do these people take themselves seriously?
Yes, they do.
My God.
Section 3 reads impertinent... Well, no. So,
I mean, if the country can be overthrown that easily, do we really...
It could, actually, but nobody's done it.
Walk into a building and derp-de-derp-de-der, and now we own the joint? I mean, we own the entire country.
All write-in ballots of Mr. Trump, blah, blah, blah. Section 3 reads in pertinent part... A lawyer wrote this.
Sure.
In pertinent part...
Pertinent part? What the hell is that?
No person shall hold any office, civil or military, in the United States or under any state, who having previously taken an oath as an officer against the United States to support the Constitution of the United States shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress may, by a vote of 2/3 of each House, remove such disability. Congress has not so acted to relieve Trump or anyone else involved in the January 6th insurrection or the attempt to substitute sham elections or the hacking of voting systems.
So
Everyone involved in the insurrection is barred from federal and state office now and forever.
Wow. You're definitely reading this in the right voice.
This past week gave legal foundation to the disqualification of Trump. I'm actually slobbering as I say this. I'm having to wipe my mouth. By the publication of the University of Pennsylvania Law Review of an article by two Federalist Society law professors using the principles of originalism made famous as a doctrine for constitutional interpretation by the late Supreme Court Associate Justice Antonin Scalia that laid out the basis for the ban. In particular, Professors William Baud, University of Chicago Law School, and Michael Stokes Paulson, University of the St. Thomas School of Law, stated in the published abstract,
Section 3 covers a broad range of conduct against the authority of the constitutional order, including many instances of indirect participation or support as aid or comfort. It covers a broad range of former offices, including the presidency, and in particular it disqualifies former President Donald Trump and potentially many others because of their participation in the attempted overthrow of the 2020 presidential election. Martha, I'll have another one, please.
But we're out of olives, Bob.
Oh, you're fired. The evidence is already replete of Trump's aid and comfort.
I'm your wife.
You're still fired, Maria. The evidence is already replete of Trump's aid and comfort to the insurrection. I must insert here that Melanie and I have never seen such evidence. And Melanie's looked. Set forth in a federal indictment brought in federal court of the District of Columbia just on August 14th, Georgia issued a multi-court indictment listing multiple acts which implicate directly or through conspiracy Trump in a multi-pronged effort, to overturn the results of the election that he lost.
No, he didn't.
Oh, boy, here we go. It is important to recognize that what we propose is under the civil law, not criminal, and nothing need be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. That sucks. Indeed, Section 3 requires that only two elements be found. Uno, an insurrection or rebellion, and dos, that Trump either participated therein or gave aid or comfort to the enemies therein.
He wasn't even there.
The former is easy to prove, and the latter can be satisfied by a single act. Our reading of the record suggests that Trump... Our extremely biased reading of the record suggests that Trump has admitted to several acts, each of which satisfy the second element, such as his effort to pressure the then Vice President to violate the Constitution and his oath of office to reject the results of the election in the counting of electoral votes before the Senate. And as Baude and Paulson argue, the First Amendment gives Trump no protection against the self-acting Section 3. Maryland should act now. If Trump has a problem, he can bring suit against the responsible state officials and be prepared to testify by deposition and at trial for his statements and actions that constitute an act of participation and aid and comfort to the insurrection and rebellion. If Trump is unsuccessful, he is precluded under established legal doctrine from relitigating the issue in any other venue. He's off the ballot in every state in the District of Columbia. He will lose again! I'm done.
And now I shall present my findings via interpretive dance.
Ooga booga booga ooga ooga booga booga ooga booga booga booga.
Isn't that just absolutely ridiculous? I mean, good Lord. Good Lord. And, you know, since we're talking about fascism, let's talk about these absolute complete idiots. These morons.
Oh my God, this is hilarious.
That are in charge with your kids. So, in charge of your kids. So let's start with a little bit of background here. It all started last week when a 12-year-old boy showed up at school with patches on his backpack.
Gack?
Uh-huh. Which included, I believe, an American flag, a Doge coin, I mean, just totally innocuous things. And one of them was the Gadsden flag. Well, this went viral because Mama had to come in and take video. A video circulating on social media, Twitter. I'm not going to call it the other thing because I think it's dumb. Depicted a young elementary school student in Colorado Springs being removed from class over having a Gadsden patch on his backpack. The clip appeared to be recorded by 12-year-old Jaden's mother as she, her son, and a school administrator discussed the boy being pulled from class at the Vanguard School that day because of the patch. According to the staffer at the Colorado Charter School, the patch was disruptive to the classroom environment, as she claimed that its origins were with slavery. The Gadsden flag. This is a teacher, an administrator, higher than a teacher.
But much dumber.
Somebody's yelling. The video opened with Jaden, his mother, and the unnamed school administrator sitting down for a meeting in her office to discuss the child's dismissal from class. So they literally yanked this kid out of class, told him he had to remove the patch or he wouldn't be allowed to go back to school. Because they were so bloody dang stupid, they didn't know what the Gadsden flag was. So they made up this ridiculous malarkey. And I mean, these are people that are flying the rainbow flag and the Black Lives Matter flag, and that's okay? But something that's about freedom and leave me alone? So the reason that they didn't want the flag, the reason we don't want the flag displayed, is due to its origins with slavery and slave trade. The mom says, the Gadsden flag? You mean the Don't Tread on Me flag? After the mother asked what would happen if Jaden didn't remove the patch, the staffer declared, the bag can't go back if it's got the patch on it, because we can't have that in and around other kids. Jaden's mother pushed back on the decision, saying, yeah, it has nothing to do with slavery. That's like the Revolutionary War patch that was displayed when they were fighting the British. She asked if maybe the woman was mistaking it for the Confederate flag. The administrator responded, I'm just here to enforce the policy that was provided by the district, and definitely you have every right not to agree with it. The mother and Jaden confronted the educator over the fact that other kids have patches on their backpack. The mother added that she did not understand the policy that was being enforced. I would have said, show me the policy. I mean, seriously. The staff member then claimed she would put Jaden's mother in touch with Jeff Yoakum, the Vanguard School's director of operations. Keep in mind, kids still not allowed to go back to school. Libertas Institute President Connor Boyack obtained images of the email correspondence between Yoakum and Jaden's mother after her meeting at the school and shared them on Twitter. As the emails revealed, Yoakum cited reports from mainstream news outlets which linked the Gadsden flag to racism because it was created by a slave owner and associated with other displays of intolerance. Yoakum cited outlet The Conversation, which featured a quote from Iowa State University graphic designer scholar Paul Bruschi, who said, because of its creator's history and because it is commonly flown alongside Trump 2020 flags, the Confederate battle flag, and other white supremacist flags, Trump is not a white supremacist, and a Trump 2020 flag is not a white supremacy flag, you absolute snowshoe. Some may now see the Gadsden flag as a symbol of intolerance and hate or even racism. Yeah, some who are idiots and should not be in charge of our children. Yoakum also shared a Washington Post article detailing a case involving the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission mandating the U.S. Postal Service to investigate a complaint made by one of its employees. The employee claimed that a co-worker wearing a Gadsden flag hat to work amounted to racial discrimination. These people are morons. Okay, so it goes on to talk about other things. Next up, this kid posted this. It went viral. Here is the next article. Earlier Tuesday, we reported about a kid named Jaden from Colorado Springs who had a school staff at the Vanguard schools up in arms over a patch on his backpack displaying the Gadsden flag. And you gotta go look at the memes because this is getting awesome. It has the kid with the backpack with his arms folded smiling with a yellow background. It says, "Don't bullshit me." What's wrong with the Gadsden flag, you ask? According to school staff, it has roots in slavery and the slave trade, a claim Jaden was obviously highly amused by and whose facial expression is becoming an internet meme at the time of this writing. Yet the kid couldn't stop from laughing when they brought that up. Despite the school's weak attempt to justify its position and get him to remove his bag and the offending patch in order to let him back into class, keep in mind, he is a straight-A student, so he's not just some schmuck. Jaden's mother stood behind her son and even corrected the school's claims about what the flag represents. This was captured on video that has now gone viral. Naturally, due to the viral nature of the story, people are hungry for updates, and boy howdy do we have some for you. Both Jaden and what the school is now going through. First, we'll start with the hero of our story. Good mom, first of all. Jaden remains undeterred and has decided he's going to walk back into school with his bag and patch still attached. Jaden says he will refuse to remove the patch and will conduct a school sit-in if it comes down to it. According to Connor Boyack, who first reported on this story, 2 law firms have now offered to assist Jaden and his family if it comes down to lawfare, and will fight this clear discrimination against Jaden and his beliefs. The story has also reached Colorado Governor Jared Polis, who posted about the story, seemingly taking Jaden's side, but there has been no word on Polis actually doing anything about it. So Connor Boyack, for those asking for an update, he's decided to go back to school. He's wearing a tri-corner hat, too. It's adorable.
Cool.
But it gets juicier as we turn to the school itself.
Juicy.
As of this writing, the school has not offered any response to the backlash that's come its way over this incident, but we're getting an idea of just how worried it is about what's coming to it. According to Boyack, the school has suddenly canceled its back-to-school night due to, quote, unforeseen circumstances. While it's unconfirmed that these unforeseen circumstances are, well, you know. Okay, so it goes a little bit more into detail, but just before showtime, there has been yet another.
Really? Mm-hmm. Nice. Let's hear it.
I thought I had that in there, so let me see. Okay, let's see if we have the update. I thought we had an update. Sorry, I could have sworn that this was updated.
Update of the update?
Yeah, I need an update to the update.
All right, well, let's do this. Remember to go to counterculturewise.com, buy our crap, and listen to our archives.
Archives.
Yes.
Our archives.
And eat them with anchovies.
And archives with anchovies. Okay, well, that didn't work. Okay, so let's try it. Their update is the old version. Make him spelling his name wrong. Come back here. I'm having to go to a different news source because they didn't update their update.
How dare they?
Okay, mom refused to apologize. Now the school has decided to U-turn on the decision to stop Jaden from wearing the patch.
Are you saying make a left and make another left?
And then make a third left.
All right, Carl.
Otherwise you'd just be turning right. With his defiance now making him popular amongst his peers. In a video shared on Twitter, Jaden said today was a good day. The kids were really hyped up. They're putting Don't Tread Me on their lockers. Now they like me all of a sudden. But the teachers, on the other hand, got some dirty looks, that's for sure. They are definitely not happy with me.
Nah.
The kid's a freaking little hero.
You know, it just takes a handful of guys like him, and it just turns the tide back to where it needs to be.
We need to start saying no, no, no. Stand up and say no. And these people, they'll fade away. They'll stop. Problem is, we've been trying to play nicey nice for so long that we've let them just completely tread on us, and we need to stop. Okay, the Gadsden flag was designed by South Carolina soldier Christopher Gadsden in the mid-1770s during the American Revolution. Colonel Gadsden had seen a yellow banner with a hissing coiled rattlesnake rising up in the center, and beneath the serpent the words, "Don't tread on me." He made a copy and submitted the design to the Provincial Congress in South Carolina. Commodore Essex Hopkins, commander of the new Continental Fleet, carried a similar flag in 1776 when his ships went to sea for the first time. In a notice shared by Libertas President Connor Boyack, the school board of directors, he said, "The Vanguard School Board of Directors called an emergency meeting." This is all over a patch, you losers. The Vanguard School recognizes the historical significance of the Gadsden flag and its place in history. This incident is an occasion for us to reaffirm our deep commitment to a classical education in support of these American principles. The districts have informed the student family that he may attend school with the Gadsden flag visible on his backpack. Amen and God bless. Jaden and his mom have been told that the patch, which has "Don't Tread on Me" emblazoned on it along with a rattlesnake, was against the district's policy, and he was not allowed to go back to class without removing it. The pupil was told by the administrators the reason they don't want the flag, the reason we don't want the flag displayed is due to its origins with slavery and the slave trade. The bag can go back if it's not got the patch on it, because we can't have that in and around other kids. But again, his mother defended him, did it on video. These people, I don't know, the educators had to actually get educated enough so that they could get their heads out of their
buttocks. This is.
No, all right. Slavery. Anyways, congratulations, Jaden and
Jaden's mom.
Yeah, go sit on a tack, Colorado. Alrighty, moving right. Oh my goodness, we are over time.
We're over time.
Yeah, we're over time. Well, I say we have to end with something wonderful. What do you say?
I say.
Here on Counterculture Wise, we may rant, we may rave, but most of all, we go against the current culture because we believe, to the core of our beings, that humans are good and the world is an amazing and beautiful place. At the beginning of our show, we give you news of the weird and wonderful, but that is just the tip of the magnificent iceberg that is our world. We now present news of the wonderfuller. This one isn't a tearjerker, but it is just really nice that the kindness of a stranger is coming through, because this woman has really been through it.
Yeah, this is a bizarre beginning and a happy ending. Taylor White was only 21 when her face was tattooed with obscenities against her will, leaving her with no other option than to cover up the unsightly markings with dark black ink.
I hope the guy who did this to her is rotting in prison somewhere.
Now, more than a decade later, the Florida resident is finally removing her blackout face tattoo with the help of a generous stranger, Carity Adinsky, otherwise known as the Dad Bot. White, who formerly worked in the body modification industry and is attempting to transition into the mental health field, said her face tattoo became an obstacle for her to land a job, and she was hurt by the rejection.
Well, yeah, she'd be terrifying if I was going to go see a counselor and this person with black tattooed face, and she's not a bad-looking person.
No, she's not. I've tried applying for jobs in the mental health care field just as an advocate, White, who has bipolar II disorder, told the Post. I understand that my appearance is quite different.
The counselors are nuts.
And could maybe jar someone that has their own condition. When she was a young woman, her face tattoo journey began as thin lines on either side of her face connecting her eyes to her temples with war paint, she said, which White inked herself during a period of mania while working as at a tattoo shop in an attempt to prove herself as an artist. At the time, White, now 37, married a member of the U.S. military who later divorced her for a woman he met in Iraq, leaving White homeless and sleeping on the couch at the tattoo parlor. It was then that she met her next boyfriend, who she believed was a great guy, but said he turned out to be abusive both physically and sexually. On the night of her 21st birthday, he took her out to a local bar to get drunk for the first time.
Baby.
But unbeknownst to her, he and his pals allegedly had more sinister plans in mind. The man, whose identity she concealed, brought White back to a hotel room, and that's all she remembers until the following morning. When she woke up in the empty hotel room, physical symptoms led her to believe she was assaulted against her will, and her face was in pain. When she looked in the mirror, she saw really horrible things permanently inked into her face, which she declined to detail due to how horrific they were. Upon returning to the tattoo shop for work weeks later, she said she was holed up inside waiting for the tattoos to heal and the physical pain from her assault to subside. Her boss was taken aback by the ink that peeked out from the heavy concealer. He said, "You can't live like this," she said, recalling how he offered to black it out so she could live a normal life. Despite taking him up on his offer in 2008, she has experienced anything but a normal life, being constantly rejected for jobs, that is, until her chance meeting with Askenasy online. White began to share her life journey on TikTok, where she now boasts 22,000 followers in an attempt to destigmatize mental illness. I wish when I was younger that someone had told me it's okay to not be okay, and if you need help, ask for it, said White, who just completed her bachelor's degree and is working towards a doctorate in psychology. Congratulations on that.
Trying to better herself. Good for her.
Oh, see, she looks great without the ink.
Yeah, she was a good-looking girl.
But in order to help others, White needed some help herself. Askenasi stumbled upon one of White's TikTok live streams one day and, compelled by her story, reached out and offered to front the cost for laser tattoo removal. The trouble she was facing obviously had a personal effect on her, asked Katsky, who touts more than 138,000 TikTok followers, told the Post. It was preventing her from doing the most good possible. From Texas, he searched far and wide for a clinic that would take on the incredible feat of removing White's multi-layered face ink, unsure if anyone could successfully remove the ink or if he could afford the costly procedure in full.
I'd actually like to know how that's done.
Finally, Removery, a laser tattoo removal company, agreed to take on the task and do so at no cost.
Awesome!
Typically, laser tattoo removal costs thousands of dollars and can take months or years to complete in full. Given White's dark ink, Carmen Vanderheiden Brody, the vice president of clinical operations at Removery, estimates that it could take upwards of 2 years for her ink to disappear. It's a gradual process, but one that yields permanent, life-changing results, she told the Post in a statement. For White, she's finally ready to abandon a lingering reminder of her painful past, so much so that she was smiling through her first removal session last month, despite the sensation of the laser. I'm not having it removed purely for cosmetic reasons, she said. This is really removing a part of me that I no longer represent or live in. That's freaking amazing. And yeah, you can see her smiling as the thing is removing, as the ink is being removed.
People in the
okay, well, and yeah, this photo is of her before the face ink. So, you know, I'm hoping, because like Melanie said, not a bad-looking lady, just an attractive lady. Well, yeah.
She's pretty inked up everywhere else, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's way over the top. I wish they would have put pictures of what happened, but I guess she said it was pretty bad. All right, folks. Well, we went a little bit long today, but not too long, not crazy long. I think we had quite a journey.
We did.
I hope that you have an amazing Labor Day. We're going to be getting together with friends. We were going to be going to the lake, but we're in the middle of a lightning and thunder and beautiful, beautiful rainstorm, so we'll see what it's like tomorrow.
I'm going to have to mow the lawn next week, aren't I?
Oh, the temperature came down to 80, though. 83.
We needed that so badly.
So badly.
So badly.
So thank you, Jesus, for the rain. No, tomorrow's going to be 100 degrees.
All right, so back to original plans.
Back to original plan, but we're going to have them over, friends of ours from Las Vegas who are here in Texas with us now, and a couple-hour drive away, but they're going to bring their dog over. We're going to take all the critters to the lake and just have a good day and barbecue some dogs. I've made some jalapeno poppers and just really enjoy the day.
I think it's going to be fantastic.
A lot of fun.
Badly needed and frankly deserved. We work hard.
We do, and we will continue to work hard, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Counterculture-Wise is a Stormcat production.
Thank you for joining our growing family of listeners. All links from the show are available on our website, counterculturewise.com. Find our archives on any of your favorite podcast hosts.
We engage in satire, commentary, and generally laugh at the ridiculousness of our crumbling society. Our only medical or financial advice is to not follow any financial or medical advice given by podcasters.
Our animations, interviews, Holy Crap segment, and other videos are put out on BitChute and Rumble, and only in part on YouTube because they hate free speech.
Our show is entirely funded by listeners like you. Visit our ever-expanding merch store or our Subscribe Star, where you can get outtakes, extra videos, and sneak peeks.
If you would like to be a guest on our program, feel free to contact us via our website. Just click on the link at the top that says, "Be a guest on our show."
For more fun and cat pics, please visit our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. For complaints about our show, please fill out the ID10T form on our website, and we will give it the attention it deserves.
Meanwhile, no matter how cruel the world may be around you, always remember the importance of kindness. Be kind to each other, be kind to animals, and be kind to yourself. See you next week.